Oh, it's going to be fun. I can't wait. 16 weeks of this. Here we go. Welcome back, everybody. There is one more Sunday left in this year, 2025. It is the first Sunday after Christmas, and Reverend Thorne, you are in the pulpit. And for the first time, we are turning the page to a new book that we are going to be sitting in for 16 weeks.
Yeah.
Give us the revealing. Drum roll. Brrr. What's our book for the next months of our life?
So from Christmas until Easter, we're going to be in the Gospel of John. So many of you know that we follow the narrative lectionary. So we do a chronological romp through the Bible from Genesis through, looking at the prophets and the kings and all of those early stories in chronological order. And then when we get to Christmas and the birth of Jesus, we pick one gospel, or the narrative lectionary picks one gospel, and we do that gospel from Christmas through Easter. And what is amazing about this, I think, is that many people have not had a deep dive into any of the gospels. We get them in pieces. And so those stories get really jumbled in our minds. Like you were saying earlier, Jim, the Magi are in some gospels, the shepherds are in others, but we think they're all together. It is wonderful to slowly read a gospel from basically start to finish in order, and to chew on it, and to learn who the Jesus of this gospel is, and to learn who the believers and followers of Jesus were in this gospel, because they're all speaking particular voices to particular communities. And I really believe this helps not just our biblical literacy, but draws us closer to the God that we follow.
Yeah. Oh, I'm completely with you there. And I promise we're going to talk about your sermon, but I just love the way we take this book so seriously.
Yes,
Seriously is a better word than literally, by the way. We
absolutely.
read the Bible seriously.
Mhm.
And I think about that because so often the trope is that mainline Christians don't really read the Bible. We just read the headlines
Right.
of the newspaper, that is. And yeah, we do pay attention to what's happening in the world, but at Riverside, at least, we are doing a whole lot of Bible. We are about to enter the final year of Bible in a Minute. We have 360 some chapters ahead of us. We have a midweek Bible study that's on pause right now. We just finished Genesis. We'll pick it up late January. We're going through every book using those videos. And open Bible study on site online is looking at these texts. So we are like digging ourselves and swimming through these texts so seriously, and it is a lot of fun together. So yeah, at Riverside, we take discipleship seriously, and this book is core to all of that.
That is so true. And I want to say there's a huge community of people who are following the narrative lectionary. And so we're not alone in this. There are other progressive, mainline, liberal, and I imagine churches of other political stripes who are also deeply embedded in this work of reading the Bible chronologically, wanting to put stories and chapters together in their context so that people have a better understanding of what was happening when. And I think it is having an impact already in our community, those who come to open Bible study, but even those who are in worship. I think whether they know it or not, there's a way in which, just through osmosis and how we are shaping worship and ordering the stories, they are picking up on some of that chronological richness. So
Yeah. And it all starts in this one, John chapter 1. Now, we don't go 1-1. We don't get the, very well known, in the beginning was the Word was with God. We're not there, so we're skipping that, but we're diving right into the action, really with Jesus' cousin named John, not the John of attributed the author of the book, different John the Baptizer. Give us a snapshot. What's going on here? You have a sermon title in mind already, I think. We're recording this a little bit ahead of time. What are you scheming and dreaming, and what's happening in John 1 verses 19 to 34?
yeah, so John the Baptizer is um, all over Jerusalem doing a variety of works, and people cannot figure out who he is. And so the key question that opens this story is, "Who are you?" Which I think, as we're ending 2025 and going into 2026, a great question for all of us. He is coming certainly to prepare the way for his cousin, Jesus, but we also are called to prepare a way, or the way, for Jesus. And so this question of who are we is very germane, I think, to our lives and a great place to center ourselves as we're stepping into a new year. But John has been, disrupting things. They're like, are you a prophet? Are you the Messiah? And he is saying in this story a bit about who he is not. I'm not that, I'm not that, I'm not that, but this is who I am. And I think those are great things for us to get clear about as well.
Yeah, I love how they just keep pressing him.
Yeah,
Who are you? Let us have an answer for those who sent us. What do you say about yourself?
right.
Yeah, it's such a fascinating way to dive into the book. We're not even really, we get Jesus, he gets baptized here, we beat him in the next verses, but it really opens with John and that who are you question, which, like you said, is such a good one to put back at ourselves, because it's not asking who is Jesus. This question isn't to him, it's to someone who's simply proclaiming the way of Jesus, which is really what we're all called to do in the world. So we need that same self-examining, who am I, who are you kind of question.
And I think the play between the who we are and who we are not, um, just given the world, is really important. Given ICE in our city, given people kidnapping folks off the street, given war um, in Sudan and displacement of people there, given genocide in Gaza and in other places, are we going to stand up and say, I am not that person. I am this person. I do stand for life. I do stand for anti-Semitism. I am going to speak up and make a declaration. I mean, even if it is going out into the the great unknown, and we have no idea what it might do, to be able to say that what happened on Bondi Beach to our Jewish siblings, which was a targeted act of hate, that is wrong. I am that person. I am not a silent person who's going to just sit and have nothing to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an identity question.
Yeah, are you gonna say something? Because almost it's easy to just sit silent and watch the world spin and burn and continue in the trajectories it's been on far too often throughout history. I think it was in a midweek Bible study we were talking about the need for knowing our history, because otherwise we just make the same mistakes. We finished the book of Genesis, which is full of these same cycles of history. Abraham and Isaac both try to pretend their wives are their sisters and get in trouble in Egypt. Like, there's this constant firstborn, secondborn rivalry. The history keeps repeating itself. And if we're going to just redact and revise or omit the history books, well, of course we're going to take the same missteps. So I think there's the same thing here. Are we willing to speak up in the moments we're in now? Are we willing to answer the question honestly and boldly and courageously, who are you? And it makes me think of you. I think I know some of how you'd answer that question. I'd love to hear just you to how would the Reverend Adrian Thorne answer, who are you? But one thing I think of is the signature at the bottom of all of your emails. Can you point that out for anyone who may have gotten an email from you but hasn't quite noticed that intentional detail?
Yeah. So my business cards at Riverside certainly say that I'm the senior minister, but I also wanted them to say that I'm a child of God. One, it's a reminder to me because I think some of these titles can make us forget who we are. And ultimately, and everywhere, we are children of God. I am a child of God. So even on my LinkedIn page, um, there was a wonderful minister in the RCA. Oh my God, I can see his name. It's going to come to me. Who has child of God on his LinkedIn. And I changed mine. It says child of God. I think it says mama next. I think it might say mystic after that, and then minister. And I think the ways that we name ourselves, and maybe I'll pull some of that into the sermon, matter just as a reminder. I know when I was in seminary and maybe a little thinking I was something. I came home once and said or did something, and my mother said, "I don't care what letters you have behind your name, you're still my child." So that reminder is important. I also just recently was on a webinar with Ibu Patel. I don't know if you know him. Okay,
Oh yeah.
he's sometimes on CNN as a commentator, and he does a lot of work bringing people together across difference and faith. And he was talking about his latest book. I'm not going to quite remember the title, but the need to be in spaces with people who are not like us and how we identify ourselves. So he showed a picture of the the Black Power fist and words that we associate with that: resist, defund, um, protest. And then he showed a picture of Donald Trump with that same fist up and the Make America Great Again, and said,
Mm.
more people of African descent voted for Trump. And he said, showed that power fist and then showed Trump and said, I wonder if there was anything going on. Then he showed the image of SNCC, the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, their image way back in the 60s, when you think this would have been appropriate, was a dark hand and a light hand shaking hands.
Mm.
And the words with that were collaborate, create, build. And it's just got me thinking. Even I'll just say that if what we do is get really good at tearing things down and burning things up, we end up getting people like a Trump. But if we build together, and that might be the name of the book, Build Together, if we collaborate, we can make, he said, not a more ferocious revolution, but a more, but a better social order. And that's just been in my mind as I'm thinking about identity and how our identity and the things we're good at. Are we good at burning things down, or are we good at building together? And what kind of order are we creating? And I think that's what John was doing. I've come to prepare the way for the one who is coming, but I think also for a social order that is beautiful, where we all get to be together.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. I love it. And all of that, the way of what are we building? What are we burning? The question, who are you? It's a timely one. I mean, I know this is just happens to be December 28th, the first Sunday after Christmas, the last Sunday of the year. So it's right at the end. We haven't quite stepped into 2026, but we can see in the rearview mirror. I think I have a rearview mirror somewhere right there behind me. Everything behind us. And it's almost like we can contrast, well, who have I been? And who will I be? And there's kind of this behind me and ahead of me. And here I am perpetually in the present, getting to choose
Yes.
how I'm going to correct the mistakes and missteps of the past and
Right.
what steps I want to take in the future.
Right. Right. Um, it just also reminds me of this poem I recently read, by this poet who died, and she was describing heaven. And it was so perfect. She didn't want to be there. She said, it feels like hell. And she said, is there any wood in this place to build the missteps that I know I will make? It was such an amazing line. She said, because I don't want to go to heaven if I can't continue to learn. Right? She said,
Mm.
I'm trying to make
Oh,
mistakes here,
yeah.
but you can't make mistakes here. So she didn't like it. And yeah, I love what you just shared.
Well, that's a good reminder that there will still be mistakes in the year ahead. So it's not about feeling guilty when we take that misstep. But I think in design thinking, they say fail fast so you can learn even faster. So it's okay if there's a mistake, but learn from it, make reparations from it as needed, and let's just keep doing better. If every day we do a little bit better, imagine how we'll answer that question: who am I? Who are we? Who have we become? Who are we becoming?
Right.
So much just from one little question that John the Baptizer's asked on this Sunday's text. Oh, I'm excited. I'm excited. Not bad for the last Sunday of the year, getting ready to step into a whole new one. And then the next week, I think we have Star Words. We'll talk about that on the next video.
Yeah.
This is this Sunday. Join us in all the places. I know some of us will be on post-Christmas, whatever, but church keeps happening. We still have spaces on site, online, Bible study in the morning, 9:30, MOK 316. I think Adrian, I think you're leading it. Zoom, I'll be leading it. I know at least on Zoom, we're going to look at when John quotes Isaiah, the voice of one crying in the wilderness. He misquotes Isaiah. I didn't even get into that. I'll save that for
Yes.
Bible study.
Yes.
It's
He
my
sure does.
annual rant. Or he quotes the Septuagint, which is misquoting the Hebrew. That's really the accurate way of saying it. So
Right.
all of that, 9:30 Bible study. Music begins at 10:30. Worship starts at 11. Hang out, virtual coffee hour or good old-fashioned actual coffee in your cup coffee hour in the building. And what a great way to end the year together by being together and starting the book of John. Oh, it's going to be fun. I can't wait. 16 weeks of this. Here we go.